Growing plants has become a new experience for me. I've always loved plants, and my mom has always had plants in our house. But having plants of my own that I'm responsible for is a bit more terrifying. It's always scary when you first get a plant, mostly because you never know if it's going to like the conditions you put it in. But after a few weeks, it's so exciting to see your plant thrive in your house. So, to share my love for plants, I'm going to talk about my top 5 favorite plants in my studio. My number 5 is actually a tie between my 2 ivy plants. The 2 that I own are the Algerian Ivy and the California Fan Ivy. Both of these plants are partial sun plants or medium light plants, so they prefer 4 to 8 hours of sun every day. I keep them in my west-facing window, as it gets the amount of sunlight they prefer. The Algerian Ivy has variegated leaves and has a more cascading style, whereas my Fan Ivy has more of a tall branching style. I've had the first for about 2 weeks and the second for about 6 weeks. I can't wait until they both grow very large and hanging over the edge of their pots, as they are both pretty small right now. My number 4 would have to be my little golden pothos. I've had this plant the longest in my studio, just a bit longer than the Fan Ivy. He's a very low light plant, so I keep him in the corner of my north-facing window, which only receives indirect sunlight. He hasn't changed much since I've got him, but he has gotten noticeably taller. I love his beautiful speckled leaves and his low maintenance care. My number 3 is one of my recent additions to my studio, which would be my green Philodendron. I bought him from Lowe's for pretty cheap, and even though I haven't had him long, he's already grown quite a bit. He's a pretty low light plant, so I have him hanging in my north-facing window. He doesn't require much water and is so far doing quite well. My favorite thing about him is his leaves are luscious and soft to the touch, almost velvety. I'm really looking forward to him becoming a nice long cascading beauty. My number 2 might seem like a weird looking plant, but she is a beauty. She is a string of dolphins. I bought her at an Amish greenhouse for $4, and since then, she's put out so much new growth. A bunch of her limbs point upwards to the sun, and she has quite a few flowers that have bloomed recently. She's an odd plant, but also a magnificent one. She requires almost nothing from me and just continues to appreciate my care. I've been seeking a string of dolphins for a while now, and I've been very fortunate to have her. Now, before I tell you my favorite plant I own, I want to pay quick respects to all my other plants that didn't quite make the list, as I still love them so much. So, for my north-facing window, we have a calico kitten succulent, a rainbow bush, a random plant I got from my friend, a random batch of succulents in my favorite pot, and a tiny succulent in a tiny pot. And for my west-facing window, I have 2 African violets and a burgundy oxalis. Okay, now, without further ado, my favorite plant is my silver pothos. Out of all my plants, she is the biggest and the most expensive, but that would be because of her size. I bought her at Walmart for about $15, but she was totally worth it. Like my golden pothos, she's a very low light plant and needs hardly nothing from me. She's still in the pot I bought her in, as she was already in a hanger at the store. The minute I saw her, I could tell she would be a perfect accent in my studio. Her leaves are very soft and have a beautiful shiny pattern. She hangs out of the pot, and I'm hoping she will continue to flow out into a beautiful giant plant. So, those are my top 5 favorite plants in my studio. I will say though, the choice was very difficult, as I love all of my plants equally. Well, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!